timer. The timer, please signal me when 1 minute of silence can break. Starting the last bit, prepare the second speaker. Number 2 from H1, 20Sept12.
Thank you, Mr. Area Governor. Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, and especially Miss Lou. May I call you Pam?
Yeah, sure.
What a fantastic speech. And to start it off, you gave us what nowadays is actually something we don't get as often as we used to, which was a big, beautiful smile. In my home club, we actually keep a tally of how many times people smile during their speech, because it is endearing, it is engaging. Something I got the opportunity to notice is immediately your volume projected all across the room. Again, fantastic. Personal stories are the best. Whenever somebody delivers a story that was personal to them and they get the warm, fuzzy humor going on and the suspense, those are the best stories ever. Didn't hurt that there was a slight moral involved there too. If I were going to caution you on anything though, there were a couple things, and a few of these I have trouble with myself. I personally call it going Italian because the hands are all over the place. And typically, when you're using body language especially, if you can conserve the hand gestures, like I caught you pointing at your watch when you're delivering a message about time, that's perfect. But when your hands are just shooting all over the place and you're not making a point, it can be a little distracting. Something else I noticed is your eye contact, for the most part, was very good. But there were a few times I caught you what I call looking to heaven, trying to find your place in your speech in your head. If you can keep your eye contact with your audience, it maintains that engagement. And one last thing that I noticed, for most of your speech, you were right here. You took one step one direction, one step the other. But that was all the more movement you did. If you could move with your audience, stop, speak for a while, maintain a gaze, maintain eye contact, just with one person at a time for a few seconds. It makes a huge difference as to how engaged your audience stays with you. Your vocal variety was fantastic as well. I thoroughly enjoyed, especially sitting here at the front, listening to your volume go up, and then you come down to something of a whisper. You are a fantastic speaker. Just a couple little polishes here and there, there's absolutely no limit to what you can do. Mr. Area Governor?
You have 1 minute of silence. Madam Timer, please signal me when 1 minute of silence is over. Starting the round, please prepare next speaker. Jordan.
Thank you. First of all, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Pam, I want to thank you for that wonderful speech. That was very interesting. This is your body speaks. Always a very interesting speech to watch. People do it in so many different ways. You know, you chose a very interesting topic, and that would be your trip to Europe with your husband. Now, what could go wrong with that? So, first of all, you're very successful at giving us a very interesting topic to listen to. So you have the audience's full attention during the whole speech. Now, the next thing you did really well was, as I was sitting in the back of the room, I noticed that you projected your voice really well. I didn't have a problem hearing it. However, when I was in the back of the room, I noticed that you also focused straight back towards the back of the room. And that's normal. I think that's pretty typical for what we do in our normal competitions, so our normal Toastmaster Club meetings, is we have a smaller room and you're used to speaking to a smaller audience. But in a room like this, I think it would be very helpful for you to expand that, look over to the people over here on the right and the people who are on the left. For example, they want to see your wonderful smile, they want to hear your wonderful jokes, they want to be included, just like the people down the middle. So I think that would be an excellent improvement for the next time you want to give a speech like this. The thing I also noticed about the way you used your body language was people, you had good tempo. I'm a musician and I can appreciate tempo, very much so. But I don't think people want to be either conducted or pointed out quite so much. And maybe that's something you know you're doing, maybe you did. But next time, pare that back just a little bit. I think that would help a lot. But while you're reducing that movement, I suggest that you open up a little more. You did have a lot of movement, but I'd like to see something up here. You had a lot of movement down here, and one of the things we always try to do is expand our movement vertical as well as horizontal. You had excellent body movement when you were showing us your backpack and where you put your passport and how that all came together and then you lost it. So I think that'd be another improvement on your speech. And so, that being said, I think you had a wonderful speech. A couple things to work on. A humorous speech as well. And thank you for giving that to us.
And now Pam Lou, writing her story into the wonderful book that is The City of Light. Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, Pam, that was a wonderful recollection of your time in Paris with the little twist on And I know from my experience there, it can go from a dream to a nightmare very quickly. I love, Pam, how, in specific with your objectives of your body speaks, your use of gestures, especially emphasizing the points, was very natural. You spoke up to your right, to your left, and it really showed and emphasized the points that you wish to make with your speech. I feel one opportunity outside of the specific objectives was your opening. You launched right into your story without much of a preamble, and given the dramatic elements of your story, I feel that a little bit of a build-up, or a little bit of a dramatic introduction or an exaggeration would have been a great way to set the stage and grab people and get their attention for your story. I also like that you held your hands at your sides during the quiet parts of your speech. One of the things that we as Toastmasters learn is that it's not always natural to be gyrating your arms endlessly, unless you happen to be Robin Williams doing a humorous speech. And many of us find it difficult during the quiet parts of our speech to stand and talk and not rely on the pockets, or the clasping, or the behind the back, or the maniacal movement of our arms. You held your hands at your side during those points, and it really added great gravity and depth to your speech. I feel another opportunity for you in your speech would be to utilize the stage. You did have the audience really locked in on your story, but I feel that by moving a little bit on the stage and engaging your audience to the left, to the middle, and then also moving appropriately to your right, you can engage the audience even more and bring them into you. It gives you a chance to really use your great eye contact, your appropriate and solid gestures, and then to really address people individually so that they're really locked into you. Finally, much like Mr. Hemingway, F. Scott Fitzgerald, and the irrepressible Gertrude Stein, I'm happy that you made it back to America, passport intact, and I thank you for sharing tonight.
Those are the four speakers from area H1. Chief Judge, please collect all the ballots from those four speakers, notify me when the ballot has been collected.
Please hold your ballots up again.
Ballots, no, hold on the ballots, we don't want to call off the timing. We'll bring in the next contestants. Bring in the contestants from H4 at this point.
Let's collect these ballots first and then bring them.
No, because that'll throw the timing off.
Speaker number one, Sarah Watson.
When I took a speech class, the first thing my instructor told me was, tell him what you're going to tell him, then tell him, and remind him what you just told him. So tonight when I was given the task of listening and evaluating the test speaker, I tried to put that into place. And that worked for a while until I became so involved in the speech that I forgot all about the rules. The first thing that I really enjoyed about the speaker, she was warm, she was inviting, and I was really interested in what she wanted to say. I felt that her body language matched the words. And not only did the body language match the words, but her tone of voice. So her tone, her body language, all complemented the story that I already wanted to listen to, but it kept me hanging on, trying to figure out what she was going to say next. I like that she made it very relatable. It wasn't so far out of reach that not any of us in here could really relate to what she was saying. When you're in a strange foreign place, you get nervous, you want to do things to protect yourself. And so it was relatable to me in that way as well. She kept it funny. There was no time where I felt bored, like when was she going to say the next thing? When was she going to change topic? I felt interested, and I wanted to know where she was going with it. Her language, the language was good for the speech. She didn't use a lot of words that were out of place or tried to be too fancy. They were just perfect. The words that she used matched the speech and matched who she was as a speaker. I thought she was genuine. In addition to being funny, I enjoyed the surprise in her voice. I could almost see the situation she was in. And when you're still storytelling, you want your listeners, or if you're writing a story, you want your readers to get that picture, and I felt she did that for us. My only suggestion would be, I thought the closing came a little too quick. I wanted to hear a little more about the French lady. I wanted to hear a little bit more. The one thing that really stuck out in my mind when we go back to body language and tone is when she spoke of gratitude. Her tone changed, her facial expression changed. Her whole body showed the gratitude that she had, and that's something that I'll take with me tonight. Miss Lester?
Number 2 from area H4, Christina.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and especially Pam. Pam, tonight you took us on a journey, which I thought in the beginning was a nightmare because you lost your passport. And I can only imagine how scary that must have been. And I really appreciated the speech that you provided me. I thought you were very bold because you were applying a speech that focuses on gestures. So you didn't stand behind the lectern, you came right on out and you told us about the story of your travels, which I thought was very effective. The one thing that I did notice though is when you were doing some gestures, you tended to keep doing the same gesture, where sometimes you may have the tendency to stop and just put your hands at the side until the next gesture or the next movement that you apply. But I really enjoyed your story. It was very suspenseful. It was fun. I think the entire audience could relate to traveling, whether you're going to another city or if you're traveling in a different country. The one other thing that I also found missing was during the introduction, I noticed that I didn't hear a title of your speech. And I think that it's very helpful for an audience member to get a feel for where you're going with. So I thought of some simple titles that you may want to consider. One would be the anniversary, because 10 years later, you're still remembering that special time in your life, which fortunately provided you with a happy ending. Another one that I thought was the mystery of the pocket pants. I mean, to this day, you don't know where your passport went, but someone magically recovered it. And then finally, I thought of, well, maybe you could throw in a little French humor. Oui au Paris. Just so that people will know that your speech is around your trip and your travels. But overall, Pam, I think you did an outstanding job. I think the audience really enjoyed your speech. I definitely enjoyed it. And so the next time, as I say, bon voyage, I will make sure that I will not be bringing any pocket-filled pants.
Then 1 minute of silence for Judge Pam.
My assistant tellers will pick up from the judges, please. The judges, please.
Just see the judge, really pick up all the better. Let me know.
We'll let you know when the ballots have been collected. All the ballots have been collected.
Chief Judge. What was 6 wonderful speeches. I would invite all speakers to come on to the stage to join me. Speaker number 1. Let's give them an applause. Roman, which club do you represent?
Rally Speaker, Club 269.
Point of order, Mr. Toastmaster, no interviews. Some contestants are in both contests.
Please give them an applause. Let the podium back to our master service.
Hot dog, how did you like that, huh? Oh, yeah! Hey, I didn't know it was going to be a contest in June. Wow, that was a real contest. Well, we got about 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Count them. 1, 2, 3. Well, you get it. 15 minutes for beans, for pause for the call. The bathrooms are marked appropriately. That one is for the women, that one's for the men. So go in the right one to protect your anonymity. And in 15 minutes, I'll see you right back here because we're going to do some humorous speech making in here.
Could I please have the other color back there? All the colors at the back of the room, please. They'll tell you. No, they represent the parts. They're when the voting takes place. So they can say the voting is fair or unfair. Looking at the judges' results, they're elected votes, and they're elected open. Get that?
It's one
of the main problems with people making things up as they go along. They have time to looking at these uncomplicated things. And it ends up looking at the art. Not that it is art.
Right.
So that's why everything looks alike. That's good. Or it's very careful rendition of what is not only fair but what looks fair.
a script to and then go on? You just got that today.
I just got that.
So you just have to read it.
Yeah, I got this.
Yeah.
But it's just the agenda.
It doesn't tell you what you have to read. At least you don't have to we're all participating tonight. That's why I had to ask him again. I said, implication or inspiration? So I'm glad he said inspiration. I'm not going to tell anybody.
But later, they called the bus, the state bus. Who's your reference? So I just knew it was still there.
Oh, what the heck? So he's a hero.
You guys are videotaping it.
I don't know.
Well, if they are.
It looks like they are.
Take a seat. Let's get started.
But if you could find out if they're going to be putting
I'll ask. I don't know who's running this.
You don't want to fuck with people. I was happy at 6:10 between July 1st and 29th and May of 2012.
Come on, have a seat.
Is this audio too or just video? Yeah, okay. Is this going to be distributed or shared? Can we get a copy of this in some form? Okay.
I think one of the members of our club is the one that brought it.
Okay.
Sure.
It is my pleasure
Thank you.
If you want, you can give me the email address or something and let you
our
know.
master of ceremony, Mr. Mike Larimore.
Well, y'all ain't heard my song yet, have you? Did you know I was born about so? I got a pretty good voice, don't I? Let's say so myself. Well, it's about time now to get our physics tickled. So hold on to your jiggles because we're about to have a humorous speech contest. And so now I just want you to practice your laughter with me. This is what I want you to say every time you hear somebody up here. So come repeat with me. You say, ha, 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 ha. Very good. Say, ho, 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 ho. Over here, he, 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 he. And over there, I want you to say, ho, 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 ho. All together now, ha, 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 he, he, ha, ha, ha. Hey, that sounds pretty good, got it? Yeah. So just remember that. There's a couple of announcements. Please take them phones and just turn them off. I've seen some people put them on vibrate and they was having too much fun. So just turn them all the way off. Turn them off. Kill them. Take the battery out. And finally, flash photography, we would ask that you just be very aware of the flash photography with the peoples because sometimes they go blind if you shoot them right in their face like that, right? And also, please do not enter the door. Don't go out the door. Don't go to the bathroom. Don't wiggle too much, right, while the speakers are speaking because they might get nervous. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay, without that much further ado, is there anything else y'all want to know? Anybody? No? Okay, I suppose it's about time for me to introduce to you the contest chairperson of the Humorous speech contest. It is herself, live in person, Miss Ed McClain herself.
They say laughter is the best medicine, so we're here to heal what ails you. So, one more joke. Let's see if I don't mess this one up. The farmer's in the barn, milking the cow. All of a sudden, a bug flies in, circles around his head. He doesn't think much about it. Then it goes into the cow's ear. Still doesn't think much about it. It comes out while he's milking the cow. So, what goes in one ear and out the other? Warming you up. Tonight's your day. I know, I'm sorry. It's what you get. They say those that do speak, those that don't do. Okay, on with the contest. I'd like to call up our contestants today for the Humorous Speech Contest. Our first contestant is from Area H1. We have Scott Donacucci. Please join me in from Area H1 is Ricardo Gerardo. Please join me. Again, we have Trey Stroud. Please contestant from Area H1 is Kenneth Roberts.
All right.
And now on to Area H4. We have Chad Schmidt. Okay, and our next contestant from H4, our last one, Mario Rodriguez. ask the contestants collectively if they can see the lights.
Timing will be 5 to 7 minutes. A contestant will be disqualified for speaking less than 4 minutes and 30 seconds or more than 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Upon being introduced, the speaker shall proceed immediately to the speaking position. Timing will begin with the contestant's first definite verbal or nonverbal communication with the audience. This usually will be the first word uttered by the contestant, but will include any other communications such as sound effects, a stage act by another person, or handing out any pictures, etc., that describe or are a part of the speech. The green light will be turned on at 5 minutes and will remain on for 1 minute. Then the yellow light will be turned on at 6 minutes and will remain on for 1 minute. The red light will be turned on at 7 minutes and will remain on until the speaker stops speaking. No signal such as flashing the red lights or pressing the audible buzzer shall be given for the overtime period. In the event of technical failure of the lights, a speaker is allowed 30 seconds extra overtime before being disqualified.
Great, thank you. Contestants, can you see the lights?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Mr. Chief Judge, have the judges been briefed and are they ready?
Judges have been briefed and are ready.
Great, thank you. I will ask that all contestants, except our first one, which is Scott Jonapucci, resume their seats in the audience. Thank you. After our first contestant, there will be 1 minute of silence to allow the judges to mark their ballots. So now I will introduce Scott Jonapucci. His speech title is Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. Again, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. Scott Jonapucci.
A wise man once asked me, do you know what the 3 rings of relationships are? And kind of puzzled, I was like, no, not really. Can you please explain it with me? He said, well, first things first, if you find the woman of your dreams, you make a proposal. So first one is the engagement ring. Second one is commitment. So when you get married, that's the second ring, it's the marriage ring. But the third one, no one really talks about, but everybody kind of has it. The supper ring. Fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests. How many are familiar with the book Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus? Great self-help book on how to communicate your relationship. So for me, I read the book, a lot of great information, but one thing I would change with the book is probably the title. I would say Men Are From Mars, but Women Are Probably From Pluto. Because some things they say or do are way out of this world and probably in another galaxy. So for me, it all started, my relationship, on the dance floor. Friday night, summer, I was DJing, having a great time, and there she walks in. Let's call it one of those movie moments. Time just stops, disco light shining on her, hair, long heels, and she did her catwalk all the way to the DJ. I quickly introduced myself, hi, and she introduced herself as well, and then she left. I thought, wow, I'm the DJ here, and she only had one word to say. I gotta get to know this girl. So all throughout the night, she was giving me no attention, dancing all around me. She's a very great dancer. So she had her hands up in her hair, moving her hips around. Quite to say, I was very distracted for the whole time. So what happened towards the end of the night, I was doing my deal, and all of a sudden I see her fall. And at first, I was kind of perplexed. Did she drink too much? Maybe she danced really hard and slipped? But in reality, a lot of women were jealous. And one woman in particular went up to her and just smacked her right in the face and fell on the floor. So for me, knight in shining armor helped her up, and the second she fell on the floor, that's when I thought I fell in love. So our relationship started. Things are great. You're in the honeymoon phase. Everything seems fine. And when you're in honeymoon phase, one thing you know when you're in honeymoon phase is when you start having pet names. Like Sweetie, Pumpkin Pie. So mine, I figured it out, it's probably Honeydew. Some of you may think, oh, that's kind of cute, it's kind of sweet, But in reality, what it means is, honey, do the dishes. Honey, do the laundry. And for me, I don't mind doing it because as long as what women want is what women get. True? Yeah. So for myself, the first thing we went through was she asked me, honey, can you do me a favor and go to the store? I go to the store, just like Santa Claus, I checked the list twice, make sure everything's there, and I went home, put everything away, and I thought, man, I'm going to win some brownie points today. So a few hours later, I see her sitting on the couch, and I sit next to her, and she's sitting here to my right, and you know the reason why women are always on the right? Because they're always right. So I keep asking her, hey, honey, what's wrong with you? Something seems kind of off. And she said, no, everything's okay. When they say that, nothing is okay. So I asked her again, no, everything's fine. I know nothing is fine. So the third time I finally asked her, she took a deep breath and looked at me and said, you know what? I know I asked you to go to the store, but you got me milk. And of all things, you got whole milk. I want fat free. Do you want me to get fat? And orange juice. Orange juice, you got pulp. Who drinks pulp? Right? You forget these things. Just like last week how you forgot to put the toilet seat down. I almost fell in. And the whole conversation starts and we have this long argument. So for me, the next thing that would happen was, for a lot of women out there, they want to make sure everything's done right. So men, we want things very simple. We want things 1, 2, 3. But women, sometimes it makes very simple things complicated. So one day she asked me to do the laundry, and at first I was kind of hesitant. I was like, no, I don't really want to do the laundry. I don't want to mess up. She said, honey, do it. Okay. So we're sitting there sipping out the laundry, and we try to keep it simple. Me, when I do laundry, it's whites and colors. But for her, she has whites, light colors, dark colors, delicates, bleach. There's like 7 different piles. So all of a sudden we're sifting laundry, and all of a sudden I see a pink sock in the white. And I think, okay, well maybe she misplaced it, so I put it back. And she put it back in the white pile. I was like, why is it in the white pile? Well, we have a lot of light colors here, and it's not going to fit in the laundry, so I'm going to put the pink in the white. And I thought to myself, pink and the white, that's going to make it all red. And no, we had this whole discussion, whether pink or not makes it red or not. And quite frankly, to this day, I have no answers. So for me, I needed help. So I went to the book, and on the book said the first thing to do is you got to validate women's feelings. I said, okay, I think I have the greatest idea. So next time when we have a fight, and I know things are going to go bad, I say, you know what, honey? I know how you feel. You're the #1 most important person in the world to me. And because you're #1, I'm going to seal it with a kiss from me, my lips, to yours. And I silence her. That's great. Every time. So the next thing they say is, you have to go out and listen. You have to listen. So after I silence her, I say, okay, honey, go ahead, you can speak. So she talks, and I say, yes. Yeah, really? And I don't really say too much. Less is more. In reality, wow, perfect. She said, you're the best. I love talking to you. Really? The last thing is you gotta compromise. The other day I asked her to come here to Toastmasters, so you hear me speech. And she said, why should I go to Toastmasters? You talk all day at home. And I was like, hear me speech? You're not even that funny. But I said, you know what? It's all about compromise. You gotta meet halfway. So if you come with me to the speech and support me, we'll go shopping. You know what she said? Oh, what can I wear? More eager to come. So ladies and gentlemen, love is a unique partnership between two individuals that, even though as individuals are very unique, together they're even better. So I'm proud to say that we're going to celebrate our anniversary next month. And I know when we first started dating, I promised her the whole world. You and me, we're going to travel everywhere, from Paris to New York to Rome, you name it. And now our anniversary is coming up, so where are we going to go? Let's go to Vegas. Vegas? Why Vegas? You promised me Rome and all that? Well, in a sense, Vegas has everything there. They have Paris, New York, Now, because you're kind of getting mad. I said, you know, honey, you're #1 to me.
I'd like to call Ricardo Gerardo up to the stage, please. Ricardo's speech today is, "It's better to have loved and failed than to have never loved at all." Again, it's better to have loved and failed than to have never loved at all. Ricardo Gerardo.
Better to have been loved and failed than to never have loved at all. Who originated that phrase? Was it Mark Twain? Confucius? Aristotle? You're all wrong. It was Joe, my next door neighbor. He tells me his love for Laura was more profound than Romeo's love for Juliet. At first I did not believe that he originated that phrase, but when he crossed his heart and soul to die, I said he must be telling the truth. Joe had a bushy mustache, covered his lips. And that's why Laura loved him so much, because of that. Because every time he took a bite of food, particles of food would remain in his mustache. Her favorite flavor was Krispy Kreme donuts. Laura was real special. She had fake blonde hair, fake eyelashes, shaved eyebrows, and red hot lipstick. Joe loved her so much. He would tell me about the nights out on the beach, walking hand in hand under a full moon. But then one day he got home, and there was a note for Laura. He recognized the signature. He thought that Laura was leaving him a heartfelt note that she usually did. He opened up the note and says, "You're nothing but a creep. Get lost." Oh, Joe was sad. He was so sad. He went and rented a room at the Lonely Hearts Hotel. Spent a couple of evenings there thinking about what had happened. And one evening, he's looking out the window. There's a neon sign advertising matchmaking. He took down the phone number. He called, and they said, "Well, it will cost you $50, but you have to write us a note indicating what qualities you want in the woman that you want." So he thought about it. He went to the bank, and he took out his $50 that he had been saving for his retirement. He pondered about what qualities he wanted, right? So anyway, he said, "I want a woman that's absorbing, comical, engaging, intoxicating, spectacular." He sent it in. Went out and bought a money order and sent it up. About a week later, he gets a call. "Joe, hi, is this Joe?" "Yes." "This is Maria. I'm from the matchmaking club, and I think I meet all your qualities. Let me describe myself. I have red, hot, flaming hair. But I'm a little worn and torn, but I'm still okay." So Joe gets very, very excited, so he says, "I'm going to impress her." So he calls up the local pizza place. He says, "Hey, I'm coming over. I'm bringing a hot date tonight. Please put extra cheese on the pizza." So they meet at the pizza place, and they get pizza and beer and so forth, you know. So as the evening's passing by, well, he kind of thinks about the whole thing, right? He says, yeah, you know, I think she needs to have a car. Yes, she also absorbed it. She absorbed all the beer. Yes, she was comical. She made fun of him all through the night. Yes, she was engaging. She was engaged 20 times already. Yes, she was hypnotic. She walked around like a zombie. Well, you know, of course, she was intoxicating, very intoxicating. And lastly, she was spectacular. She was a spectacle. She made a spectacle of herself at the pizza place. Well, Joe, being a frugal kind of guy, he snuck out of the pizza place without paying his bill. So he says, Maria, would you like to go to my apartment? He was thinking a romantic night with her. So they get to his apartment, and there's an eviction notice on his door. He looks around, and all his furniture is out on the sidewalk. Being a gentleman, he wasn't going to be fazed by this incident. He asked Maria if she'd like to sit next to him and enjoy the fresh air. He really wanted to make an impression on her, so he wanted her to know about his past experiences, about his past successes. He told her that he had been a model prisoner at the state penitentiary. Well, the bus came by and she got on the first bus that came and she left and he never saw her again. So there he was again, broken hearted. But he thought about the phrase that he originated. Better to have been in love than failed and never loved at all. He kept repeating that phrase to himself over and over again. So then he thought about a friend who told him about another club, right? Now this club were beautiful women. Beautiful women. They're sort of wordy. They talked a lot. And they had big vocabularies. So he went out, he joined Toastmasters International.
Our next contestant is Trey Stroud. His speech is the support group. Please join me, Trey. The support group. Trey Stroud.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. Today we live in an age of support groups. Everybody feels the need to be supported, whether it's saving the whales or saving Lindsay Lohan. Everybody wants the support. Now, My favorite support group at this moment in time is called Parents Who Did It. And I know what you're thinking. Of course they did it. That's how they became parents. But that's not what this support group is really about. This support group is to support those parents who, and some of them just barely, were able to raise a child to adult age. Now, for those of us that are the parents of adult age children, it's a daunting task. But let me give you a brief retrospective on how we get them from birth up to adult age. Now, it starts with exhaustion. Because if you've ever been a mother that's carried a child, you are nothing but tired. But with that same idea in mind, is there any fiercer protector in the wild or in what we call civilization than a mother protecting her child? Typically, when we get that little bundle of joy, it's to the oohs and ahs and the celebration of a new life. And then the unthinkable happens. They start growing up. Many times I've heard, couldn't we just keep them small just a little bit longer? Time marches on. And then those beautiful little cherubs become young people. The buds of yesterday start to bloom. And voila, this tiny little thing grows up, you hope, into your own image. But then the unthinkable happens again. During the teenage years, they take on their own persona. How is it that this young person, who it just seems like a short time ago, I was changing their diapers after they'd pooped all over themselves, now knows more than I do? Personally, I think we do it to ourselves. Has anybody in this room seen Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? I get most of the answers right. But what can we truly expect from these young people? Oh yeah, I forgot. She's going to give me fashion advice. How scary is that? Because she knows everything. Ask her. But the time comes for that wonderful moment in parents' and child's lives. The prom, which is immediately followed by the graduation. Now, again, for you parents who raise adult-age children, it's time to help that little eagle leave the nest. Some leave on their own. Some need a swift kick. I mean, a gentle nudge. But we hope for each of them that they are able to spread their wings, gather for themselves. But we worry. Can this person possibly cook for themselves? Could this person eat anything other than ramen noodles and microwave macaroni? How do we know as parents they won't start hanging out with undesirables after we've given them such careful attention? Will they go on to the college and then career that we've so hoped for them? Will they enjoy that lifestyle that we've wished for them since their birth? Independence is a funny thing, especially based on the number of 20, 30, 40, 50-year-old people that are living with their parents. My support group is not about just going out and having a good time. We don't promote imbibing or debauchery. However, if you happen to find yourself in a vineyard, that could have something to do with our group. Now, obviously, we're not supporting that you go out and find yourself in a bathtub with your clothes on. But we are supporting the idea that just because you have an empty nest does not mean that you have to sit at home and twiddle your thumbs. We have workshops where we promote traveling to exotic places, seeing the rich splendors of the world, seeing things you might not otherwise have the ability to see. One of our workshops is art appreciation. Another is let the inner rock star in you come on out. We have organized sports, conflict resolution, reuniting with nature. Whoops. The one that went a little too fast was making friends and influencing people. And this is stand up for yourself. Mind over matter. And of course, let the child in you come out. One of the other things we promote in my support group is making friends that are richer than you are, and then talking them into letting you come and visit. Life should be about happy things. It's not all about what you buy, it's enjoying what you have. There's two schools of thought, one of which says, if you love something, set it free. If it comes back, it's yours forever. The other school of thought says, if you love something, set it free. If it doesn't come back, hunt it down and kill it. You choose your school of thought. But we're here to support you either way. Madam Toastmaster.
Madam Timer, please let me know when the minute is over. The next contestant is Kenneth Roberts. Please join me. His speech is send tents now. Kenneth Roberts.
Are going to Mars. I don't know if we're ready, but we are going to Mars. And the reason I'm not really sure we're ready, I want you to look around at everybody around you. There's something I noticed, and I hope you notice too. We're all biological stuff. There has been an absolute prohibition of sending biological material to the moon, biological material to Mars. Why? We don't want to contaminate these environments. It's done once, it's done. Now, we are going to Mars. And where we go, germs go. Where we go, bacteria goes. Where we go, fungus goes. I'm telling you, it's a one-shot deal. It's a complete commitment. And there's one or two things you might want to know before you decide whether it's a good idea right now. First of all, where are you going to live? On Mars, where are you going to live? There isn't anywhere to live, but where you'll probably live
is in a tent. They'll send tents up there, blow them over there, put more tents inside, and that's where we'll live. Honestly, that's how it will work. No matter whether we do this now or in a decade from now, we'll probably live in tents, so we should send tents now. Listen, I know this is true. I read it. You may not all be scholars, but the last time the Martians attacked, they came with tanks and gas, and they were unstoppable, except for a teeny little microbe. It got into them and killed them all. Now, where do you live? I'll tell you something. You go somewhere, you find microbes, we can probably live there. That's true. You go somewhere, no microbes, even if you don't know why there's no microbes. We're biological stuff. We probably cannot live there. Anybody who goes to Mars, they're not coming back. Because they'll bring back with them the Martian microbes. Are we ready to send people who will never come back? This is my plan. We do, but we only send women. First of all, you can send 5 women for the cost of 4 men. That's true. Once they get there, they will live in the tents, and they will eat stuff like, mushrooms, and seaweed, and anything else they can grow like indoors. So we need to send water, and all this will be done indoors, and we need to send tents. That's absolutely first. Now, if they're going to stay there forever, they're going to need to reproduce. And I know what you're thinking. All women, completely all women. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking they'll all be pregnant at once. No. Women are much more organized than that. And there's a statistical thing. If you send couples, only half the individuals are available for making children. If you send all women, they can, in their organized fashion, take turns. And after one generation, you have children, and half the people are still making babies. You can have a colony, but if you send couples, not only 25% of the people are eligible to make babies. The problem with this is they're not coming back. None of these people are coming back. So you want the best shot at having a colony. Send all women. That's how you populate Mars. However, there's one more thing. Once you've populated Mars, you're going to have law and order. Now, I know it's just me, and it's all women out there, but I think you only need one rule of law: divorce. There isn't an issue in the world that could not be resolved by a divorce court judge. Assault, theft, murder, anything. Put it before a divorce court judge, done. And everybody would have to abide by it. So divorce is the only rule of law you would need on Mars. So, if you're going to populate Mars, they're not coming back. You've got to send tents now. And here's the thing. There's going to be a day when Mars is no longer happy being a protector of the United Nations, or whatever it is that they are. I'm hoping State of the Union. And they are going to divorce the Earth. There will come that day when Mars divorces Earth. And I wonder if on that day they will do what my ex-wife did and ask for the moon.
Our next contestant is Chad Schmidt. Please join us. Chad's speech today is "Come Get You Some." His speech is "Come Get You Some." Chad Schmidt.
My dad used to come through the door when I was about 4 years old after a long hard day's work as a sales representative. And I could remember anxiously waiting to see him. And his facial expression on his face, I could tell he was excited to see me. And he would get down low. And he would say, "You want you some? Come get you some." And I would run after him. And I would go hug into his arms, and then we would begin wrestling. Now, if any of you guys in the room remember wrestling with your dad, you can probably remember that you hardly ever won. And if your dad was like my dad, he had a full-grown beard. And my dad, when he was in 8th grade, had already had a full-grown beard. So what he would do is he would put me in a headlock. And he would give me some goodies. And occasionally he would take his beard as he was laying on top of me, and he'd rub his beard. And that is like the worst feeling ever. And let alone imagine waiting 2 or 3 days before your dad actually shaves and he's grinding it into your face. Or picking your shirt up off of your stomach and rubbing the beard on your stomach. Now, some of the women in the room, you might remember your brothers wrestling with your dad. Well, I chose that story because it's a very accurate depiction, I feel, of life. Because as a young child, 4 years old, going up against a giant, you're not really out to win against your dad. He's too big. But he got low enough to tempt me to come after him. And as a young kid, my first reaction is to jump on top and get onto his back, because if you're on top, you're winning, right? Well, little do you know that all your dad has to do is just roll over, and then you're back on the ground. And he can get back on top of you and give you the knees and rub his face up. Well, I think I've won maybe 5% of the wrestling matches against my dad. And the reason why is because, as I relate this to life, is you're going to lose a large portion of the battles and fights that you go after. But every time you see another fight and another opportunity, you see that opportunity as your dad coming after you going, "If you want you some, come get you some." the 5% of the fights that I won against my dad or so, I can remember the extreme joy that I had. And in fact, the one fight that I remember winning against my dad, he decided he was going to award me. And we went to Toys R Us. And we got the WWF Championship title belt. And I can remember him granting me that belt. And I, at 5, 6 years old, strutting around the house. And I got me the championship belt. And it used to piss off my brother. So then we started doing tag teams against my dad in hopes of getting some more percentages of winning. But as you start to grow older, you start to recognize that teaming up actually gives you a better shot at winning. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're always going to win. In fact, you still lose a large percent of the fights. But when me and my brother won, we had to go get to Toys R Us and get another WWF Championship title belt that we can both hang in the room and show to our friends as they came over that we had beaten our dad. Those are the great moments, one of the great moments that I remember spending with my father. Even though it was challenging to beat him, I still had an upper hand because I was small and I was more agile. I could get around him. He was slow, a little overweight. But I can remember my brother holding down my dad as I got to give him I couldn't give him a thing with the beard, and I still can't because I don't have that much facial hair on the face. But my brother can. My brother has a lot more facial hair than I do. But the point that I wanted to share with you guys that I learned from a mentor of mine, whose name is Charlie Jones, is that we're not always meant for the mountaintops. Sometimes we're meant for the valleys. And the valleys is where we learn the most about ourselves and we're able to grow. And the experiences that we gather throughout our lives help us to get better, go to the next level. So that when that chance does come, and we see that opportunity, and we finally tackle and challenge it, we can then raise our WWF Championship belt and spread around, showing our friends and our family members that we finally did it. Even though we may have looked stupid in the process, we may have made a lot of mistakes along the way, we may have looked goofy with the statements that we made, sharing to our friends, but we finally did it, and we became part of the 5% that actually wanted something that we're proud to tell others, and that our parents and friends would probably tell to their friends. So if you want you some, come get you some. I don't know what you want to get, but if you really want it, go after it. Thank you.
Now 1 minute while the judges mark it out. Madam Timer, please let me know when the minutes are. Our next contestant, second contestant from area H4, is Dave Moore.
Today's speech today is anything that moves the joy of alternative meats. Again, anything that moves the joy of alternative meats.
Thank you, Matt and Contest Master, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, all y'all. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to you today. I'm so excited about my topic, and I want to begin by creating for you, if I may, a very special scene, just in case any of you missed out on your summer barbecue experience. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, at least 5 of you are ready, so let's begin. We have the bowl of big, delicious potato salad. It's got the fresh dill and green onions in there. We have the big platter of summer fruits. You've got your cantaloupe and you've got your watermelon, and oh my, here comes Grandma. Grandma has that special tray she's got loaded up with deviled eggs. Those same deviled eggs that you've been noshing on since before you even knew what an egg was. And oh my, that smoke, the smell rising on the smoke from that grill where we have these tasty slabs of delicious kangaroo meat. It is so I'm sorry, did I lose some of you? Okay, I'm messing with you. That's not actually what a Morris family reunion looks like. One exception. Actually, Grandma, 95 years old, still rocking those deviled eggs. That part is true. However, kangaroo meat, my taste for kangaroo meat was acquired not in the backyards of America, but actually on the other side of the globe, in another country. Can you guess the country? Very good. Total softball question first. Very good. I was in Australia with approximately 1,000 of my close personal friends as part of the United States Navy, and as soon as we got off the boat, we were treated to a very special lunch put together just for us, and it featured some tasty kangaroo meat. Oh, it was so delicious. So tasty to me, in fact, that I assumed that Australians everywhere were eating this meat every day. Turns out, I couldn't have been more wrong. And I will tell you how I found out. The next night, I'm chatting up a young Australian girl, and I think it's going quite well until she asks me, "What did you like about Australia?" And I tell her, "Well, you know, I got the chance to sample some of that delicious kangaroo meat." And she said, "Oh no, you don't eat that. They feed that to dogs." This is when I learned that the Australians have a certain sense of humor when it comes to how they treat their tourists. Okay, because what goes around comes around, right? Actually, in Australia, it comes around first and then goes around. It's a whole way. That was a long time ago, and today, 80% of the kangaroo meat that is exported from Australia is actually consumed by humans. In Australia, actually, they still feed it mostly to dogs, and you can attribute this disparity to the fact that to people outside Australia, kangaroos are exotic wildlife, and to people inside Australia, kangaroos are essentially large hopping rats. But this desire that we're developing worldwide for all of these exotic alternative meats, this has been going on for quite some time. You will recall that in the 1980s, ostrich meat actually became very popular here in the United States. Actually, many of you may not recall that, but if you don't, ask your parents. It's true, it was an alternative to beef, and it still is very tasty, very nutritious. Something a little more contemporary, goat meat. Goat meat is on the rise in popularity in the United States. Now, I know, since we're in the San Gabriel Valley right now, many of you are saying, what is so exotic and alternative about goat meat? Because you know, 75% of the world's population is already eating goat meat. However, Americans, and I want to make something perfectly clear, I have nothing against Americans. A little late to the party on this one, but Americans, if you're out there, try the goat meat. It's a lot lower in fat than cow meat. And I don't mean anything by that. I'm not trying to tell you anything. I'm just saying, a little lower in fat than goat meat. Next up, this one is very exciting. Yak meat. Many of our friends from the Himalayas are migrating into the United States, and now, as a result, you can go to a restaurant in California and order a delicious entree featuring some of this tasty meat. You want to be very careful with this, because you know what they said. Once you've had yak, you'll never go back. It's true of all these meats. Think about what you have to go back to. You've been on the 5. And you've seen those big feedlots off the 5. That is where most of your commercial meat comes from. And if you haven't seen them, I know you smell them. You do not want to eat anything that comes out of there, and that is why I am asking you, my fellow Toastmasters, to become alternative meat evangelists. I know that we can do this because we are Toastmasters. It is in our mission to support people in their growth. So who better to support our friends and our family in thinking outside the cow? And I see that one day in this great nation, people across the land, in backyards and picnic areas everywhere, will be enjoying these delicious, much more nutritious, much less environmentally impactful meats. In fact, we put our minds to it. One day, these meats will be more popular, more traditional than Grandma's deviled eggs. That's the vision. Go forth, spread the good news. Thank you very much, Madam Contest Master.
Our next contestant is Dina Smith. Please join me, Dina. Dina's speech today is very superstitious. Very superstitious. Dina Smith.
Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, I've got a question for you first. How many of you guys are sports fans? Yeah, good. Yeah, I am too. Can you tell? I bet you can't guess what my favorite team is. Football season just started, okay? We're into the 3rd week. Well, we're coming into the 3rd week now. I was really looking forward to the season because I have a brand new quarterback who started last year. He's very promising. Good things are going to happen to my team this year, right? Watched the first game of the season. I was really stoked. We lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The thing is, I know exactly why we lost this game. It wasn't because the offense couldn't keep the other team to get to my quarterback. It wasn't because my running backs couldn't run down the field with the ball. It wasn't because because my receivers couldn't receive the ball. And it wasn't even because the defense couldn't stop the Tampa Bay Bucks from moving the ball down the field. No, none of these. I'm to blame. It was all my fault. My team lost because it was me. You know what happened? I forgot to wear my jersey. My lack of wearing my jersey, and you'll notice I have one for every time either they're playing home or away. I forgot to wear my jersey. Sports superstitions. It's a pretty big thing, right? You guys have teams that you follow. You know, if you have a relationship with your team, you can kind of relate because you may have your own superstitions, right? Let's talk baseball. Baseball. There's a lot of superstitions in baseball. Probably the most famous superstition in baseball is the curse of the Bambino. If you're not familiar with this, in 1919, the Boston Red Sox traded Babe Ruth to the New York Yankees. And they sold him, they traded him for cash. So basically they did sell him. Well, because this trade took place, the Boston Red Sox could not win a World Series, okay? It took until 2004 for the Boston Red Sox to finally break the curse, right? They finally won the World Series. So it makes me wonder, is there maybe a statute of limitations on My girlfriend is a big baseball fan. She's a Dodger fan. She too has her own superstitions. She sits there at home watching the Dodgers, and when they're winning, she has to sit on her couch in a specific position. She can't move. She can't even go to the bathroom, okay? Because she knows if she moves, the Dodgers are going to lose. I have to say, it's a good thing she doesn't drink beer, okay? What about the LA Kings? They won the Stanley Cup this year. Pretty significant, right? And believe me, there are some superstitions in hockey. When they get to the championship and they win the division championship, the players are not allowed to touch the division trophy. Because if they do that, their chances of winning the Stanley Cup, forget it. They're gone. But if you've watched any of the championships in the Stanley Cup, you'll notice all of the players have facial hair, full beards and mustaches, because their superstition is they cannot shave during the playoffs, right? Now, how does this work? Because is it like the story of Samson? If they shave their beards, they're going to lose their power or strength? I don't get that. Or, since both teams have the same superstition, does it mean that the hairier team wins? I mean, there's guys, one of our speakers was talking about how he doesn't do very well in the facial hair, right? So do those players, like, ruin the whole thing for everybody? Let's go back to football for a minute, because me and my boyfriend actually enjoy watching football. And he also has his lucky jersey when he's watching the San Diego Chargers. Well, I have to say, it's a good thing that football season is only 16 weeks long. Because his superstition, which is not that uncommon, I've heard it before, He can't wash the jersey. He cannot wash that jersey. Yeah, you know, that jersey from last year, it had some battle scars. A little bit of lipstick, some beer stains, you know, and of course, the odor of my man. Very manly, I must say. Good thing the Chargers didn't get very far in the playoffs, because I think I was going to have to take that thing and keep it outside after a while. You know, it's too much. And I don't understand why the luck would stay there. I would want a clean jersey versus a dirty one, right? So yes, I was responsible for my team losing to the Bucs. It wasn't the Tampa Bay fan that was sitting in the front row that was in a full pirate outfit that was responsible for the Bucs winning. It was because I didn't wear my jersey. So I want you to be supportive of your teams, whether it's wearing that special underwear that day or whatever works for you. If you have to eat chicken, whatever your superstition is, embrace it. Go team.
Thank you, Dana. And 1 minute of silence while the judges mark their ballots. Madam Timer, please let me know at the end of the minute. The next contestant is Mario Rodriguez. His speech today is, "We missed the train." We missed the train, Mario Rodriguez.
I was listening to some of the speeches earlier, and it reminded me of how tragedies can, with time, become really funny. We heard Tammy talking about her speech about losing her passport, and I'm sure that now it's funny, everything went well, but I guarantee you the rest of that trip, she was clutching that passport for dear life, and she wasn't going to let it out of her sight. And you know that, Pam, I'm just not going to let that out of sight, but now it's funny, now it's humorous, and now, it's something that we can all sit here and laugh about. So, my speech is basically about how tragedies can become really rewarding experiences, great times in our lives that we can share later. And most of them are not even true. I know that we have stories that we were hanging out with our friends when we were in high school or in college, and things happened to us that didn't happen, but we keep telling the story over and over and over and over. And after a while, we believe it, Or it's like I remember the last time I was at this Toastmasters contest. I won the contest, and I won all the prizes, and it was incredible. It was a great time that I had, and so I'm like, I can't wait to go back there again. And I started thinking about it. I go, wait a minute, I didn't make them cheat. But it's just like, perspective puts it all together. And I want to talk about a time that when I was in college and we were going to spring break, and I'm a procrastinator, and everybody who knows me here knows I put things off. I didn't get some birthmarks until I was like 3 or 4. So we were supposed to get these tickets to go down to Mazatlan, and we're poor students, so we're not going to fly, we're going to take the train. So of course, I was responsible to go get the train tickets. And I put it off, and I put it off, and I put it off, and at the last minute, I'm like, damn, we got to get down there. So we get on my dad's old beat-up truck, and we're driving down there. And of course, not planning ahead and not having the luxury of cell phones and all the gadgets that we have now, like the program where I was going to go and it would just take me there. We just drove on the freeway, and then like not a very smart person, we crossed the border and realized we're in the wrong town where the train's at, so we got to cross all the way across Mexico on the other side. The roads are not that great, rainy, little beat up truck. It's not the greatest adventure at that time. I was scared to death. I thought I was going to get run off the road. And so we get to the train station after 3 hours of traveling on the other side, which would have taken us an hour and 15 minutes if I found the right way. We get to the train station and they're closed. So I'm like, man, we should have planned this a little better. And everybody's like, yeah, we should have put you in charge. But so we get there, and I used to say, well, you know what? We're college students. Let's at least have some fun. We're in Mexico. Let's go out and have some beer, have a great time. And we're like, yeah, you know, let's make a great night out of it, even though I messed up. And so we go to a bar, and sorry, we don't serve beer. It's an election day. Mexico does not serve beer on election days, which, of course, I didn't know that. But so we're, oh man, now everybody's really mad at me. So we come back, of course, with no tickets and no beer. We spent hours and hours trying to cross the border, get back to the United States, to this big old line. And we finally get back. We finally get back to school, and we, you know, it's fine. It's no big deal anymore. We start telling all our friends a story about what a great time we had in Mexico, and the girls we had, and how, oh man, it was incredible. We had a great night. And so, but then came the time to actually go to Mazatlan on the trip. So we didn't have the train tickets. So my bright idea was, let's go to TJ and we'll take the bus to Mazatlan. And 28 hours on a bus. But it gets even better because I tell the guys, don't worry, let me handle this. Right? Now, Pam, I didn't listen to people, and I didn't put my wallet on one side and my money on the other side, and I got my wallet taken, and I didn't have money for the bus. That's my story now. Back then I was broke. I didn't have money in the first place to go to the bus because I had spent it all at some crazy parties and a YouTube concert. I got souvenirs and all that stuff, and I'm like, you know, spending all my money like I have an abundance of it, and it turns out I don't. So I tell my friends to say, let me negotiate these bus tickets. So I'm the only one that speaks Spanish, right? So I'm like, let me handle it. So I talked to some guy, and I'm like, hey, you know, we're starving college students. We need to get to Mazatlan. We can't get on a train. Can you give us a deal for us to take this bus? And there's about 10 of us. 6 of us were planning to go all along, and at the last minute we talked a couple of the students from Greece that were there that didn't have anywhere to go, spring break. Come on guys, let's go. You'll have a great time. You'll love it. So I talked them into going, and then I felt responsible for their entertainment. So I thought I'd give them some entertainment on the bus. So we got a great deal on the bus. The guy goes, just meet us around the corner, and if you know, you can talk your way into just about anything if you have a few extra 20s in Mexico. So we got on this bus, and we're driving for a couple hours, and we get to the city called Tecate. And most of you know Tecate is famous for the beer. Well, I know it's famous for getting kicked off the bus. Because the driver starts telling us, hey, you know what, I need some more money. You guys want to stay on this bus? So I guess he figured, you know, we're on this bus, we're not going to back down. And I mean, we're going to back down, he's going to get more money out of us, and we'll be on our way. Well, that's not what I'm about. I'm like, guys, don't worry, I got this happening. We're off the bus, we're not dealing with this guy. And we get off the bus, and we're looking around, and I'm like, all right, hey, that's the end of Tecate, and 2 blocks that way, that's the end of Tecate, and it's just all desert. So everybody's like, Mario, what are you doing? And we've been on the bus for hours, and we still have hours to go. So at the end, basically what happened was, I talked my way into them letting us on an actual bus with the actual tickets, and we still got the same deal, and the people are really nice, and we got to Mazatlan like 24 hours or whatever later. And the timeshare we had was a beautiful timeshare right on the beach, but it turns out only 6 people could stay there. So my friends from Greece were like trying to figure out where they're going to stay, and it was crazy. They were just so frustrated with the trip they came back home. You talk to them now, and they had a great week in Mazatlan. It was a time of their lives. But You know, it tells you about perspective. I was thinking about like all these weddings and stuff that happen where the bride gets punched in the face and all these terrible things happen, but you have something to talk about later. If I had caught the bus, I mean, if we had got the train, I wouldn't have anything to talk about today. I would have made it there, we would have had a great time. So I'm glad I missed the train. Thank you.
Chief Judge, please notify me when all the ballots have been collected.
Yes.
I would like to ask that all the contestants join me up on the stage. Please hold your applause. Giancucci, Ricardo Gerardo, Trey Stroud, Kenneth Roberts, Chad Schmidt, Dave Morris, Dina Smith, and Mario Rodriguez. They are all winners. You now may apply. To our contest Toastmaster, Michael Adams.
All the ballots have been collected.
And so, shall we interview our contestants? No, not yet. We won't interview them tonight because we don't have time. I just want to take a moment to acknowledge all of the contestants for their heartfelt upliftment, fun, all the demonstration of sincerity and authenticity that we saw tonight. I think tonight we really got a chance to see what Toastmasters is all about. There is a wonderful film out about Toastmasters. It's called Speak the Movie. And if you haven't seen it yet, I would highly recommend that you see that film because it is the story of what we just witnessed here tonight. Each of us has a story in our life, and that we take some of that and we share it with the world, and in that we get to be entertained and titillated, and we learn some lessons along the way of our life, and it's a wonderful way of being. And while we are waiting, yes?
Yes, we can actually have some certificates of appreciation, and we'll let you all take your seats. We don't keep you up here forever. Just a few more minutes, guys. Hang in there with us.
And you know, what we witnessed tonight really brings to mind a very heartfelt experience that I had many years ago. Some of you may remember a time during the Vietnam War era, and as a young man, I was in the market making some purchases. I noticed that there was an elderly lady in the line ahead of me, and she turned back and she looked at me with tears in her eyes, and I noticed that she kept looking at me. And after a while, I just couldn't contain myself anymore, and I just kind of gently put my hand on her shoulder, and she turned around and she said, you look so much like my son, who was lost in Vietnam, and he never returned. He never got a chance to say goodbye. And she says, would you do me a favor? She says, would you just say goodbye, Mom? It would mean so much to me to hear that, because my son never had a chance to say goodbye. Of course, I obliged her. As she paid for her groceries, she was about to leave. She turned around with tear-filled eyes, and I said, goodbye, Mom. And she could barely contain herself, and she left out. And I had a few groceries and dog food, maybe, and some eggs, and the cashier told me that my bill was $132. Oh, your mom said you were paying for her groceries. And so I said, wait. I ran outside, and sure enough, here was this, what looked like a little old lady running. She had tennis shoes on. She's running with the basket. She gets to her car. She throws everything in. She sees me coming. She runs in. I grab the car, rip it open. She's trying to drive away. I grab her leg. I'm pulling her leg, just like I'm pulling yours. Byron giving you an inspirational message. And Byron, would you please come forward?
Okay, Michael Lattimore.
Michael Lattimore.
Now comes serving as assistant timer.
Next is for our area governor for serving as the evaluation contest postmaster. It is the area governor, the CC, ACB, and EIEIO. Mr. himself.
Next we have Juju Liu, who served as a contest chair and helped handle our registration.
The next certificate is, oh yes, for her engaging and titillating suspense-filled story about how he it is none other than Pam Lou for serving
Bill May served as sergeant at arms.
And for serving as the assistant teller, Adolfo Morataya. Yes, he's in secret right now.
Our assistant sergeant at arms is Rosemary Quinones.
Beatrice Uri, serving as opportunity drawing.
introduction in a loving and caretaking way. Kathy Wang. Come on.
Ernestina Queen, serving as chief timer.
And for serving an opportunity drawing chair, it is Connie Wong. Connie.
And we have Bobby Conseco serving as Assistant Sergeant at Arms. This one is a sweet person, and she is also one of our district secretaries. Constant Noel Hatley for helping us out with our ticket sales and opportunities.
Here is Sandy McLean.
Sooner or later, right?
Okay, you want to hear one last joke? Can I read you myself? Okay. The farmer and his wife are riding from the chapel in a horse-drawn carriage. The horse stumbles. The farmer says, "That's once." Moves along a little further. The horse stumbles again. He goes, "That's twice." The horse moves along. The horse stumbles again. Goes out under the seat, takes the rifle, and shoots the horse. His bride says, "Oh my gosh, that's awful." The farmer says, "That's once." We say to keep it tonight, we're not going to announce the winners. We have 34 guests. That would take forever, and we're way past our time. And thanks also for your presentations. We really appreciate it. But I'll bet you thoroughly enjoyed all of our evaluation speakers. But we've posted the drawing ticket numbers up on the board. Please make sure that you check the board before you leave, and we will make sure that you get your. Okay? Let me see what else. Oh, the little decorations. The Toastmaster at your table that has the least amount of time, you are more than welcome to take that. And I have the lids to the plastic jars. You're more than welcome to take up the straw too if you want, and use it in another fashion, and I'll hand that to you. That's just the
That's the newest Toastmaster.
The newest.
The newest Toastmaster.
Yeah. We wanted to thank you and hope that you had a wonderful experience and enjoyed it as much as we did. Oh, do you want to call the tickets? We can go through the ticket numbers.
Yeah, we can call tickets while we're waiting. That's right. How about that? Only the last 3 digits. 436, you got that one too? Yeah,
Make
he's
sure you
coming
get
back.
number 3.
Number 5. 475. 475. All these fours.
Come on down.
Come on down. We got a winner. 475.
Prize number 5.
Price number 6, 424. 424. Price
Another winner.
Okay, prize number 7, 502. 502. Come on down.
To Chandra. All right, go get your prize. Number 7. Prize number 8, 430. 430. Another winner.
That was prize number 8.
Price number 9, 225. 225.
225. Yep. Oh, Lisa. Come on down.
Prize number 10, 482. 482.
482.
Come on there.
Come on down.
That's prize number 10.
Prize number 11, 466. 466.
Okay, just cutting us off,
Okay,
guys.
cutting us off. Okay. And so after the contest, after the prizes, you can go over and check the list, claim your prize on your way out. Everybody will win tonight. And so, as they bring the ballots forward, as the ballots come forward, and they are coming forward, the envelope,
I'm gonna give these to them.
we are waiting with bated breath. No soul says
De países.
Okay.
You have no menu?
Are you ready?
We are ready.
Graduation contest. Area H1. The third grade, Randy Showman. Second prize, Peter Tosti.
Please stay for your Kodak moment.
Ready for the number 1. Ray.
You think we're shooting twice, right?
Area H4. Second prize, Christina Faulkner. First prize, Sarah Watson.
Oh, yeah? And she
Okay, for our Area H4 humorous speech contest. Here we go. Second place is Dave Morris. And for our first place for the humorous speech contest is Chad Schmidt.
Oh,